so the first thing you're going to need to swap a Gen 3 Hemi into a all-wheel drive first gen Durango or a second gen Dakota is, beside the vehicle itself, is of course a Hemi. What we're dealing with here is a 5.7 liter Hemi, which is the most common, and this particular one came out of a 2009 Chrysler 300. So the year is very important because first off, when you're swapping in a Hemi, you need to make a decision. You need to decide whether you want to go with a pre-Eagle Hemi or a Eagle Hemi. And the pre-Eagle Hemi was manufactured from 2003 to 2008. And the Eagle designation has to do with the heads. The 2009 to current, 2023 as of this recording, deals with the Eagle Hemi. The Eagle Hemi has a couple extra features over the pre-Eagle. It has variable valve timing, better flowing heads, and cylinder deactivation, if that's something you want. If it isn't something you want, then there are kits easily available out there to be able to delete that. I am going to keep it for fuel economy purposes, and hopefully I can get everything running okay. So the other thing you need to keep in mind is the ECM. So the ECM's changed over the years. I've been told that dealing with a 2005 ECM is going to be the easiest as far as swap goes. However, I like a little bit of a challenge, so I'm dealing with a 2009 ECM that came out of the same vehicle. So, aside from that, the other difference would be the oil pan. So, the car oil pans, that would be the Challenger, the 300, and the Charger, all came with a front sump. The trucks, i.e. the Ram 1500, came with a rear sump. And so that is something that you're going to need to change if you're dealing with a vehicle, a car-based Hemi like I am doing here. And I have a Milodon oil pan specifically manufactured for this application. So I will put part numbers and everything you need down in the description, and my goal here is to make these kinds of swaps easier for the people that want to do them. There seems to be a lot of documentation for doing two-wheel drive swaps for the two-wheel drive vehicles, but not so much for the all-wheel drive and the 4x4. So with that in mind, you don't have to go with the Milodon pan. You can use a truck pan, but it's going to require notching out the frame rail, I believe, and maybe a little percussive persuasion, a couple dents in the oil pan itself to get it to fit. So with all that out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and get this oil pan off the block, and we'll get started swapping it over to a rear sump. Alright, so I got the oil pan off, and one thing to note that I didn't notice is that the oil pan on the this particular engine was structural, and I had my mounts to the engine stand bolted to it. I had to move those, so I'm thankful that nothing bad happened, because I just realized that after I started undoing the bolts for the engine pan. So with that out of the way, I'm going to get this windage tray off, and then we'll get the new pickup tube, and I have a new windage tray as well. I'm not certain that you can reuse old ones, so I just went ahead and I got a new one. So we'll get going with that, and I'll show you progress once that's done. Alright, so I got the windage tray off, and I got the gasket surface cleaned up. I used my Bauer surface conditioning tool, which I have to say I'm impressed. That made quick work of it. Of course, I also used a gasket scraper, scrape off the big stuff first. Unfortunately, sometimes, you know, we make mistakes. So something I should have done is I should have covered up the valley here when I used my conditioning tool, but I forgot to do that, and I got some fuzzies down in there from the cleaning drum. I got my shop vac out and got what I could, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go ahead and change the oil, you know, a few extra times before I go to regular intervals. So hopefully that'll get everything out. So on to the next task, which will be putting on the new windage tray and the new pickup tube. Alright, well, a few months later and a new shop. I am back at working on the HEMI Swap. So I had to move out of my old garage. It was too tiny anyway. So got rid of my apartment. Apologize for the background noise. There's a big road nearby. So I think I got all the fuzzies out. I vacuumed it up pretty good. Got the mating surface cleaned up. So next thing I need to do is I need to swap this bolt right here for my new pickup tube. So this is the pickup tube, and so I am going to just take that one out and swap it with the correct bolt that has a stud on top for that pickup tube. Not going to really worry about it too much. I saw Clay Milliken did something similar with his HEMI swap when he put his pickup tube in, so that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to shut up now and get to work. Alright, so I got the stud in. Before you put it in, you want to soak it in 10W30 oil for a few hours. And then the specs that I got were 20 foot-pounds plus 90 degrees after that to torque it to spec. I got my information from Summit Racing. I trust them, so I assume that they got their information from the manufacturer. So I'm going to go with that and call it good. Plus, I kind of checked my torque settings on this bolt here, and it seemed within spec to what I torqued this one. So I think we're good to go. I'm going to go ahead and put the tube on. So here, got it. I'm just going to put some oil on my finger, wipe around the O-ring here, and then put it in there and torque that to spec, and then put the nut in over here and get that torque to spec as well. So I'll let you know the torque specs after I do that. I'm sorry, I wish I could record, but I only got two hands and nowhere to set the camera, so I'm also recording on a cell phone. So again, like I said several months ago, I'm a small shop, actually not even a shop, just a guy working out of a garage. I don't have a big budget, so just doing this by myself with the tools that I got. Alright, so I got both of these torqued to 21 foot-pounds. That's what the manual said, according to the manual I got from Summit, of course. So if you don't have this stud, I forgot to mention I bought my stud from Bouchelon Performance. Again, if you need a parts list, check down in the description. I have all the parts there. I'm going to show you what I paid for everything. Again, that's 2022 prices, so if you're doing this sometime in the future, prices may have changed, but I'll have everything listed and put together. So this pickup tube I believe I got from Moroso. So, and then my oil pan and my windage tray are from Moroso as well. And crap, this is why I just realized something. I should have probably put that windage tray on first. So again, I'm not a professional, I'm an amateur. I am documenting everything, including my mistakes. So I guess I will get that windage tray on and do this all over again and show you the results. Alright, so got that fixed. I got my gaskets in. My gaskets, the windage tray, and pickup tube and oil pan are actually Mylodon, so I was wrong on the Moroso part. Next part is to torque the oil pan bolts down in the correct pattern. If you do not know what that pattern is, I'll leave a link in the description. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'll torque them to spec. Alright, so I got all these bolts torqued to 9 foot-pounds. That is the spec. Make sure I got my gasket. So gasket, windage tray gasket, oil pan. We're good to go there. I need my dipstick. I'll put that in, but I had a dipstick I bought for this. I believe it was a Mylodon. I bought it with the oil pan. In my move, something happened to it. I don't know where it's at. It's probably in this garage somewhere. But hopefully I don't have to buy another one. I guess in the meantime I could try to use the stock dipstick. I just kind of like the other one because it looked a little bit more heavy duty and built. So anyway, I am going to call it a night. Next thing that I have to do when I come back is I'm going to take this oil filter off, and I am going to put on the TRX oil filter relocation kit. It's not required, but highly recommended for Dakota and Durango swaps. Reason being is that if you don't do it, it just puts the oil filter in a very tough location if you keep it like this. So relocating the filter will make oil changes much easier. That said, I will catch you later, and we'll yeah, so I'm gonna call it a night.